Hello, everyone. Good night, and welcome to another showcase of IndieX 2020. Today, we are thankful to have here with us Mike from the team working on Under Construction, Fat Paul Games. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, it's all correct.
So today we're going to have like a small chat about the game. We're going to show a bit of the gameplay. The game is still in its early stage, so we're going to see is obviously in a work in progress footage. We are going to take some questions from chat, and we're just going to have a nice time as we usually have here on IndieX 2020. For those who don't know what under construction is, could you give us like a small pitch, some small explanation?
Okay, under construction, or at least what we've tried to make, it's a hack and slash sci-fi game set in some kind of ruined setting. When the protagonist, the girl, has a big blade, and this blade is not for the combat. But for the self-protection, this blade can be put into some sorts of slots, and smaller blades can be taken out from the big blade to fight and solve the puzzles. So, Under Construction is a hack and slash and puzzle game. At least
Okay.
that's what we try to make.
Yeah. I think that fits the explanation of the game, and it's also very like when I was playing, it reminded me a little bit of Transistor. Not only just because of the female protagonist, of course, the blade, but also the view and the combat. So yeah, I think it's kind of a nice fit. Having said that, I think we can move on to the game. So I'm now going to start showing the game, and let's see what Under Construction has
Yeah.
to show us.
Uh, a quick reminder,
Yeah.
you've mentioned the transistor, and you are absolutely right because the Supergiant games mostly were the great inspirational from us, and it's the transistor is one of our main reference.
Yeah, and it's a good
So
reference to
yes,
have.
thank you.
So let's get do it. So we're starting off with this pretty nice menu, some very good looking art, obviously. Let's get ready to see what happens. Start new game. So when you start the development on this game under construction, um, what was it like? What did you feel like? What did you think motivated you to create this game?
Actually, under construction is our diploma project. As we were students of a game design faculty, we've tried to make a game about something valuable, and this valuable connection was the blade. Our first concept, our first idea was a girl carrying something, probably a weapon or sort of. Uh, that is hard to throw out because she will take damage if you throw it out. But later, the conception were transformed into under construction when you have a blade that you can fight. But it's still valuable because it's your safe point, it's your heal point, and it's something that can you help solve the puzzles.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think that's a really good explanation actually. We have obviously some kind of ominous voice talking to us and telling us something about memories. That of course this is a still vertical slice kind of or alpha, but
Yeah.
you can see that there's already a bit of narrative here. Can you go a bit into what inspired you to make the narrative for this vertical slice? What did you want the player to leave the game with? Because it's a small demo, obviously not much you can show the player, but did you want what kind of emotions did you want to cause in the player basically?
Uh, yeah, thank you for the question. We want to show the player some kind of mystery because, as you can saw at the start of the game, the player, as a girl, traveled with her friend to seek the mystery of the ancient temple, and then accidentally she dropped down into that temple and found herself near the some sort of a late and speaking voice from surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
and to get out of this temple maze, she should firstly take the blade with her, and then discover what is really happening here. So the main feeling is the sort of mystery.
Yeah, mystery. Yeah, I that was the kind of vibe I got playing through the game. And another thing I saw was despite the environments being kind of simple, right? They're very let's say monolithic, right? There's it's very like ruin like there's very simple shapes. The kind of color palette you use in the different stages of the ruins, right? And the lighting and everything, I find that for what you mean, for what you are saying, that is an alpha stage game and something that is really early, something
Yeah,
that was a diploma graduation project. I find that the atmosphere is really good, and sometimes that's something that isn't that easy to get right. It's not something that it takes some kind of attention to detail, and that was a thing I liked a lot in your game. There are obvious places where you can see that it's obviously just a project that is in its early stages, but there's an attention to presentation and detail and lighting and atmosphere that kind of gives it a sense of being something that has potential and something that well that's made with love and care, and that's at least what I get from the this game.
thank you. Mentioning the care of the environment. All the environment of the game were handmade by our label designer Dennis, and the whole chaos, whole props and models were designed and sculptured by him. So it's the whole level design is our product. We haven't used any assets
Yes.
except for the main character.
Yeah, but for a graduation project, as you mentioned, like that's already something that's really good. Originality and trying to get a different look and a look that is yours and trying to own it. That's something that I think will be very useful even in terms of your future career, obviously.
Thank
Um,
you. Let me interrupt you for a
yeah, yeah,
second.
sure, sure, go ahead.
For now, you're in uh, for now, you're traveling to a different timeline. When you insert the beat blade inside a slot,
Mm-hmm.
your heroine traveled to the past. That's why the whole surroundings are kind of brighter now. For now, and you have a different light sword. It's some kind of tutorial how to use the light sword. It
Mm-hmm.
may be not really obvious, but we tried to
Oh, sorry.
oh, right then it's
Yeah,
fine.
I dashed off the
Uh,
building. Don't worry.
we've tried to teach the player how to use the blade through these flashbacks from the past when heroine uses her blade to activate the slot at the end of the level. He suddenly discovered the memories of her predecessors, of other heroes who tried to escape the temple before her.
Oh.
Maybe it's not really obvious in the narrative for that alpha stage, but that's what we planned
Yeah,
for.
when I was playing, I understood clearly that it was memories from the past. I was not sure if it was the heroine's memories, maybe from another life, or if it was a different character. But thank you for clearing that up. Yeah,
Yeah, it was kind of different character.
nice, good.
And since it's memories and we don't have a big blade, we can activate slots for now, but we can use the light sword, actually
To
the
freeze
free
things.
sword power, to freeze the uh, water and surrounding mechanisms
Mm-hmm.
to solve some puzzles.
Very good.
If you're kind of stuck here, you can go upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So, how long have you started development on this project?
I guess we started a pre-production and the developing of the idea of the game in the February of 2020. and the early prototype we've made was in April. But since it's a diploma project, we haven't spent all our free time to the games. So the whole time of development were approximately of 2 months if we take all the time from March till today.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the word in English. Sorry,
I don't worry.
yeah,
Do you,
trying to shorter it.
what has been your like favorite part of the developing this game, or what makes you excited since it's still at such an early stage? What do you feel like is the thing that's going to make it stand out?
Oh, a difficult question
Mm-hmm.
because I can tell you about myself and about my team. If it is a question for me, I was a programmer and the lead game designer of this game, and for me, the team coordination and mm, trying to uh, trying trying to sorry the word
Trying
make a
to
better
organize everyone.
idea. Make a better idea was the most exciting part. But also, I'm really excited about our level designer job because I couldn't do anything like that myself. If we're talking about ourselves as a team, I guess the whole development process from the concept to the this prototype were exciting.
Yeah. Let me just freeze this
Actually,
over here.
actually here we've got the light blade, and we're in the main timeline, and we see some uh, bots that are protecting this temple from intruders. We can freeze them with the ability, or just slice with the blade and dash out of them.
Yeah. Works as advertised.
Yeah, yeah. When you kill them, there is a platform appeared, and you can go forward, just solving some
Yeah.
puzzle with the buttons and the freeze, the
Mm-hmm.
freeze water.
So what we mentioned before? Oh yeah, I have to go get the sword. Um,
Actually, as you faced it in the early stages of development, that was our main problem:
yeah.
how to make a player, how to connect the player to the big blade and make him not to forget this blade. Uh, uh, uh,
Yeah.
well,
Probably it's
behind you,
if you
and
give the
we've
narrative.
come to conclusion that we should put the slots to the blade not far away than one game screen each one from another,
Yeah.
because if it's too far from each other, the player forgets to take the main blade and just rushes forward with a light blade.
Yeah, and like if you tie it narratively the blade to something important to the player, that might also be a very good way to make sure that they don't let it go. Like something, like
Here
maybe
in
yeah, to say it's a key or something that's very important.
uh, Here another flashback comes, and here we teach the player how to use the green blade, the blade of speed. The protagonist now acquire and can use a double dash instead of the only one dash. And this speed blade has increased attack a little bit more than the freeze one, and can use a special ability that we don't have a name for, but you can hold the right button to create a green sphere that can damage everybody inside it. But it has a kind
Yeah,
of big
cooldown.
cooldown. Also, I cannot not to mention our sound designer, because all the music. Yeah, you can die in a flashback,
Yeah.
so it's fine, but it's a kind of hard place. Uh, our sound designer Paul write all the music for our game, and sound design is a kind of mystery for me too, uh, because I have no music education, just trying to play some instrumentals, but know nothing about making music. And I was talking about inspiration. I guess the music was an inspiration for our mystery atmosphere, and the mystery atmosphere was an inspiration for the music.
Yeah, yeah. That most dev projects work that way, right? There's because it's an iterative process. So someone comes up with something that then inspires other parts of the game to be better, right? And there are even some
Yeah.
people who maybe even start composing composing the score for the game before the game is actually very ahead. So that's perfectly normal. Like I think music is one of the key aspects of like trying to set a tone for your game and the kind of things you want to explore with it. So I think yeah, music is very important. And it's funny you mentioned like all of these things that you're talking about that you don't know how to make and you don't know how to do, because game dev is mostly collaborative, right? So of course there are those devs that can go the extra mile and do incredible things on their own, but most game dev out there are collaborative efforts, right? You can't do everything on your own.
There's some hidden feature that nobody knows about, but you can press tab or away from the main blade, and you can distantly switch your blades
Oh, okay.
from the green to blue, and from the blue to
Oh, nice.
green. Why nobody knows about that? Because we haven't prepared a tutorial for that function yet,
Yeah.
and we're in you know uh, we are still arguing about how this feature should be implemented.
Yeah.
Should it be unlimited or had some
Cooldowns.
energy bar? Because yeah, cooldown or energy bar, because we want to make a game about switching the blades, but don't really know how to motivate player for now.
Yeah.
I guess we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, it's complicated to actually like reach the balance between making sure that the player has enough options so that he doesn't feel bored or feel like he's being held back, right?
Cool.
Um,
Yes.
but at the same time, you can't just give him everything he wants. Otherwise, they just breeze to the game and destroy everything. So it's kind of a balancing act. I guess from the wheel right now, you have planned like uh, close to 4 blades or something of the sort, or
Yes. Yeah. You're right.
okay, good, good, good.
Uh, mm,
Okay,
yeah. That's the tutorial from the main pass, and way back down is the secondary
bonus,
path
yeah.
that can lead you to some kind of trophy. Uh, mentioned oh,
Yeah.
you mentioned something, and sorry, I forgot.
Oh, that you were thinking about making more blades, like 4 blades or something like that.
ah, uh, yeah, we have a lot of ideas about other blades, but mainly we want to focus about the soul blade that can transfer you in a different dimension, where some parts of the environment are present and others are not, uh, opening the secret path, but also spawning the shadow enemies that can be seen in the real world. And another blade is a defensive blade, I guess. We want to make a blade that can give players some kind of protection and make shield around
Mm-hmm.
him.
Yeah.
but this shield will be stationary, and the player can get away from that if you want to be protected.
Good, good.
But
So
it's just the plan.
okay, okay, let's go.
This platform, if you've seen before, some platforms can be. All the
Reactivate.
platforms are controlled by the buttons, and the buttons are activated by putting the big blade inside a slot. Some buttons can be reactivated, and some of them are just one use only. And these buttons are 100% reactivated.
Nice.
You've gained some orbs from the secondary class
Mm-hmm.
and previously on the other level, and there is some sort of control unit in the temple where you can spend these orbs if you come too quickly. Oh, this is a secret pass.
Oh,
Oh.
that was a nice launch. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Okay, good. Yes, getting orbs. So yeah, this is kind of your collectibles right now in the game
uh, yes,
because you want to
not
incentivize
not a
some
not a
exploration as well.
trophy, not a trophy, but resources that you exchange
Yeah,
for more damage or extra health for a character.
that's green. Good. Oh, sorry.
Uh, funny fact: there was a reference to Stanley Kubrick's film. There were a big black uh, hexagon. I don't know.
Yeah, like the monolith.
Yeah, the big black monolith. But we've decided to change it to a temple morphing our game style.
Yeah, a little bit more core. Okay, what is this? Oh, I don't know.
Uh, if you can, yeah, this is. I guess this is one use only. Oh no. Uh, uh,
47.
actually, this moving the vent
Oh
from the right side.
yes. Oh.
You can drop down your character on the vent and achieve the great launch, and
Yeah.
always.
Let's see. Oh, that's good. That's good.
No, it's not really what. That's not really it, but okay.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
Sometimes it launches the character way outside the map, and it looks very funny.
Let's see. Oh yes, buttons. Let's see what we can activate around here. A way back.
Uh, the camera movement is also one of advices, not advices, one of the supporting things to the player. Uh, we're moving camera away from the player to show the larger perspective if probably the main blade is outside of the player's vision, like
Yeah. Yeah.
now.
No, for 100% sure. Like it's the little things that people don't know. Like people think that oh, I'm making the game, so if I just put a button here and then put a sword there, people just pick it up and it's okay. But in reality, like yeah, you have to pull attention towards the puzzle solving and other kinds of things you want to do. Otherwise, people don't see it.
And we've came to a final area of the third level,
Yeah,
where you
a
can
big brawl.
face a lot of bot enemy from the first stage, and something interesting in the other stage. Woo! Nice drop down.
Good. Get the sword. Oh no, you have to put the sword there. Yeah,
The common mistake here
let's go.
of us too.
Yeah, now you show off a little bit of a hint towards what may come. A boss fight, right? Or something of the kind, right?
Yes, so we've tried to prepare the boss and even have our model, and you can hear the great music here.
Hmm. Do you plan on launching any a demo or this year, or do you just want to focus right now on development and try to push the game as much as possible?
Well, we have tried to make a great vertical slice
Hmm.
that will fit all of our
Concepts.
concept idea to find a publisher for
Yeah.
our game. But for now, this demo that you've played, more ways in August. Yeah, August. Of course, August. You can try. You can download this demo that you've played on our each.io by the Tech Under Construction or Fatpong Games, and
Hmm.
leave your feedback here. But till the end of this year, or maybe till winter, the end of the winter of 2021, we want to prepare a good vertical slice for a publisher. That's our main goal. But
Nice.
if we talking about the game, after a lot of play tests and some exhibitions like in the X, we have been given a lot of feedback, I
Hmm.
guess, and maybe we will change our game a little because for now we've tried to. Since the concept, we've tried to focus on two things at the same time. As I meant before, it was hack and slash and puzzle solving. And when you're trying to focus on two things, it's kind of hard not to spread your attention and your focus in one or another and make both things in a good way, in a very fun way to play. And I think from this demo, you can notice that there's a lot of great environment and environment puzzles, but the combat is lack of something. Maybe it's dynamic or diversity of enemies, and that's the main point we want to focus till our in our vertical slice. We want to switch the focus from combat to puzzles and make more types of interactions in the game.
Yeah.
We are now reconsider our the game design of our game to make it more puzzle rather than combat.
Yeah, I mean, you can also you should also play to your strengths. Obviously, like making a combat system that is fun and approachable and everything. That's a lot of work because, of course, as you mentioned, like you have to have different enemy designs. They have to have different patterns of attack. Then they have different VFX for every attack, different sounds. You have to make different effects also for your main character, right? And how they deal with the situation, give options to the player, and something and something. So yeah, making you should making when you're making a game, right? You need to understand what you can and cannot do, right? And think about your strengths and what you can improve and what you can bring to the table that is different. So yeah, it's a good thing that you're focusing a lot on what you're thinking, on what your game really is and what you really want to do. We actually have some questions here in the chat. Um,
Yeah.
so I'll go with the first one. I am very sorry, but I cannot pronounce his name because it's written in Cyrillic, right, in the different alphabet. But he asks, Mike, what do you think about making your battle system more DMC like a combo system? He would like to see a combo system in the game, something like that.
Uh, I'm a really big fan. First of all, personally, I'm a really big fan of DMC and all the slashers. I'm a fan of Nier Automata and
Yeah,
games like this, fighting games. But there's one big problem. As I mentioned before, we need to focus on one thing: puzzles or combat. And unfortunately, in our team, we have the only one programmer. It's me, and I'm
yeah,
not a best programmer in the world. I'm just more like a scripter. And the combat in games, it's a very hard to program thing. And I really want to see the DMC like fighting in our game, but I don't. I'm not sure we can make it right now with the team we have for now.
Yeah, yeah. You would need some kind of assistance or other kind of things. But I mean, that's why you're also looking for a publisher, and also why we are
Yeah,
looking to showcase your game and other games that are earlier in development, so that maybe they can get some attention, get some help, get some different inputs, and try to become greater than they can be. Because obviously, like DMC is a staple series. It's not you don't just walk up and make a DMC like battle system, right? It's not so simple as that. But we also have some comments here, not just questions, but first of all, Ricardo Correia says, "I truly love how solid the art direction is," and then he poses one question. Although I love the art direction, it's solid and has a concise idea and palette. I am afraid that a regular person might feel it monotonous, visually speaking. What other directions are you aiming to after this first level? So he's asking basically if you want to maintain this monolithical and more like similar color design, or if you want to add different contrast, different colors, and different architecture into the game.
really good question, and right in time. Uh, as I mentioned, talking about the story, the protagonist, the whole story happening inside a temple, and we really want to make it, well, how did you say it? Monolithus? Okay. But also for the vertical slice, it will remain as it is, but for the further level, we wanted to add some old grass, maybe some cracks and different environments with maybe lava or something like that, to, as you said, to diverse it,
Yeah, the
I
first, yeah,
guess.
make it more diverse a little bit more. Yeah,
And also, maybe in our game will be not only one but other temples with a different visual styles. And of course, thank you for the compliment to our level designer and our level artist uh, who prepared that great visual design for us.
sure. So, regarding the not only this game, but if you had like a big unlimited time and unlimited amount of monies, what kind of dream project would you like to do? What would be your dream project? And this can be a game, this can be a book, a movie, whatever. Just relating to personally yourself. Like, what kind of project or dream project do you want to make, or do you have in mind?
Oh well, you are asking me
Yeah, yeah.
as a man or us as a team? Because
Yeah, specifically you right now.
specifically me, um, I really love emotions, and I really love people, and games. My dream project might be a film or a game about a strong emotion or a couple of them that people can live through themselves. Maybe it will be a story about the loneliness, the deep depressive loneliness, and overcoming it. But I don't figure out how to make it yet, and what I really want to make for now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're still
Uh,
early in your journey, right? And you're still learning. Yeah, it
Talking
was.
about uh,
Oh,
just a quick remark. Talking about how do I want it to be done, you can Google the GDC lection of Yoko Taro, the game designer of
yeah,
Nier Automata, when he explained how he makes a narrative of his games, and he said that he first comes the emotion of his mind, maybe a loss. It's an emotion from the original Nier, and then he developed this emotion to a story. Who lost? Who lost? Who or what? How did he or she lost that? And why or for what? and then from this emotion comes the story. That's how I specifically want to design games.
Yeah, I mean, Yoko Taro is certainly a very good example. At least narratively, his games are they are absolutely one of a kind. It's very rare to find anyone writing anything even closely similar to what he writes. So I think that's a really good role model for you to pick and to strive towards. Obviously, I'm also a big fan of Nier Automata and Nier, actually the original one. So I can see that is actually a very good influence. Would you try to convey some kind of emotion and narrative already in under construction, or are you trying more to just try to complement the gameplay with a little bit of like environment and history, and just try to orient the player in a more like through a small story, or are you already thinking about what kind of emotion you want to pull out of the player at this moment?
We want to, yeah, we really want to make people feel something in under construction. Probably this is, that's my perspective, not our narrative designer perspective, I guess. But we want to make player feel lonely, of course, curious, of course, and hmm, we want to put a player in an uncomfortable condition of loneliness, but give him something. I mean, Blade and the voice surrounding him, the mystery voice that can feel this loneliness, but still sense not as a friend. We want to. We want player to see Blade for the first minutes of the game as a tool, and then uh, trying to create a connection
Mm-hmm.
between player and the Blade, like between close friends. And we want to create the connection between the voice and the player starting as a friend, but then transform it into some kind of suspicion.
Yeah, so yeah, that kind of relationship is also very similar to Transistor, as you mentioned before. That's I like it a lot because in the beginning, yeah, the blade is kind of something you just carry around, right? You don't really bond with it, but as the game goes on, you really understand that there's something there and that there's this whole past. And at the end, I'm not gonna spoil it because it's an amazing game and people should play it, obviously. The blade is very crucial to the end of the game. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So I think you have the right model to follow. Maybe obviously you are going to go in your own directions, but that kind of how do you say narrative tool is very good because the blade is something you carry along with you throughout the game, for better or for worse, and it's the only thing that allows you to progress right throughout the game. So that the player already has this emotional investment into the blade. Not even if you don't give it a narrative purpose, right? It's still the tool that is always with you and allows you to solve puzzles and allows you to combat and allows you to do everything in the game. So it serves this dual purpose that I think is very interesting. I don't know if you were going for that, but that's a good solid point in your game, and I think you could explore that in your game to great effect, right? It could be something that is noteworthy and a good selling point for your game as well.
Thank
Um,
you.
no problem. There's another question here in the chat from Revax, and he asks, "Do you fear changing to a puzzle focus instead of a combat system would reduce your prospective audience?" Let's say.
Um, a good question. Uh, when we have trying to search our core auditory, we have tried to mix the auditory of slashers or hack and slash games with an auditory of puzzle games, but then we've come to a conclusion that it's yeah, there's some crossing between them, but we don't want to attract only the crossing section. We want to focus on the puzzle lovers or the combat lovers. Of course, if we focus more on the puzzles, we're a little bit throwing out the combat lovers, and we're focusing. And we, if we're focusing on combat, we will throw out the puzzle lovers. It will lower our auditory, but if the game design is right, if we will make it right, I guess we can handle or some kind of our core auditory that love action games can still remain with us.
Yeah, I agree. I
It's
think
all depend on game design.
obviously it's a good question, but it's like
Depends.
you can never like foresee, right, the exact amount to which it's going to affect or not affect your core audience, right? So in the end, I think it's much more important, and even more important for like a student project, right? And something that it's not a big studio, it's not a team that's super experienced and has done lots of games. I think it's very important to focus on what you can do right, and what are your strengths, and what you want to do as a dev, because that's the kind of motivation, right, and the kind of results that can come from that, I think, are much better than something that you just decide to do out of the blue when you're not exactly sure if that's what you want to do, and you're not experiencing it, right? So I think obviously you should explore other avenues that you're not so comfortable with. It's good to grow and learn as a developer, but if you're making a project with your first project with the intention of already reaching some audience and trying to sell it and trying to gain a publisher, right, you should focus also on what you want to do. Then you can develop your skills in between projects or on a side project you're doing or something like that. I think for this game you really should try to understand what is the core, right, the core gameplay, and what you really want to make, and try to use your better strengths in that direction. I think it's the best thing you can do right now. Yeah. So if you want to go for puzzles, I think it's a good puzzle and exploration, because puzzles and explorations are very, and the atmosphere, right, are things that are very hand in hand normally in these types of games. If you look at The Witness, for example, you see that like normally puzzle games are very heavily reliant on art style and atmosphere more so than combat. So if you can really nail the art style and the atmosphere and the puzzle part, I think it's a really good combo for you to differentiate yourself. I don't know if that's if you know The Witness, or the example I was talking
Yeah, of
about. Ah, okay, good,
course.
good.
It's a great game. I love so much. One of my favorites.
Yeah, because it's a really good example of the kind of thing I think you're trying to do here. Obviously, because this is still a vertical slice, like, but we can see the combat is still very early on, and as you said, the combat is a very hard part to program. So yeah, I think you should really play to your own strengths, and try to make the game you really want to make. So before we go, I wanted to know if there's any message, anything you want to tell the audience and leave for prosperity here. If you want to tell them about your social media following, any of your projects, anything you want, just go ahead. You feel free to talk about it.
If you want to subscribe to us, just tap fatpalmgames.com and you can find our site in the Google, or you can Google under construction in itch.io to find the prototype for our game. And I want to say thanks, my great pleasure, for my team, sound designers, level designers, artists, narrative designers, and other people that help us, because well, when we've started under construction, I didn't thought we can come to this stage when somebody will interview me or asking to showcase our prototype, but still great progress. And thank you for inviting us to Indie X showcase. It was an honor for me personally and for my team.
No, no, big man. That's what we want to do. We want to take projects. We want to take indies and we want to showcase them. And we want to thank you as well and all the team for submitting, having the courage to submit the game. I hope that our nomination can have any effect of you, even if it's just motivation, even if it's just pushing a little bit more eyes into your game. I mean, that's what we are here to do. We want to show the world that there's a lot of good things out there, a lot of good indie games from places people don't even know and teams that you don't know. And so, yeah, thank you very much, Mikhail, for bringing here your game and for taking the time to be with us. And I hope we can see you in future projects. And yeah, you're always welcome here. So thank you once again for your time. And tomorrow we are going to have Hyper Parasite stream here. So be sure to check that out. And of course, this entire stream will be available on our channels, Rubber Chicken TV on YouTube, if you really want to see it. So once again, thank you very much, Mikhail. Everyone,
Thank
have a good
you.
night. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Good luck.